So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mrs. Capiello, I have a motion to approve the minutes, motion by Ms. Nancy Manisi and seconded by Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell? Here. Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mrs. Conte Mackey? Yes. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Capiello. Next, we have our communications that are reflected on our personnel agenda. Ms. Mackey, would you make a motion, please?
Madam President, thank you. Motion to adjust the agenda, order of the agenda to open discussion from the superintendent's report.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Mrs. Capiello, I have a motion on the floor that was moved by Ms. Elsie Conti-Mackey and seconded by Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you so much. And we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Miss, this is not time for public comment. The board just, Miss, uh, it's H. It's H. Comments from the public is section H. It's right below the communications, before the superintendent's report. And a motion was just made to move the superintendent's report up.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Madam President. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, within the superintendent's report, we're going to discuss the impact employee recognitions, a small glimpse. We'll go through our HIBs. The self-assessment, we're going to hold off till next month. And then our student liaisons, if they're here, will join us at the end. First up, I would like to invite Ms. Bossert up. Actually, I'm sorry, Ms. Bossert, you're second. So I apologize. Last month, we were able to recognize our Teachers of the Year. Many times, we have a lot of employees throughout our district that are here for the success of our children. Without everyone working together and doing their part, their role, our district wouldn't be what it is. Our schools in this country would not be what they are. So there's important employees throughout school systems that unfortunately we don't get to recognize enough. Some of the things you might not even know go on, and they're keeping a child to do well in school. It might not be the teacher every time. There's support staff that helps as well. And like I said, I had the privilege of introducing our teachers last month. But this month, we're going to recognize our 23-24 education support professionals, the ESPs. So I would like to call up our support professionals. Come on up, and we'll end up getting a picture at the end. Ms. Watson's going to help me. We have a little appreciation token, Ms. Carbonell. And before we do that, I wanted to ask Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden to just say a couple words, because those that don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, State of New Jersey, National ESP, do you want to share when? 2020 to 2021. We're very lucky to have one of our board members that came from that role, that was successful, was nationally recognized. So, Ms. Scott Hayden, if you wouldn't mind sharing a couple words?
So yes, I would like to congratulate all of the ESPs that are being recognized tonight. I know we often say you guys are education support professionals, but I like to say that you are essential school professionals. What you do every day on behalf of students, that's right. What you do every day on behalf of students definitely makes an impact on our educational community. Our students are thriving and they are successful because you walk into the doors of our school buildings every day, being the best versions of yourselves. And I cannot say a thank you enough. I cannot say how much we appreciate you for what you do every day. Our jobs, your careers, I'm gonna say careers because I don't call them jobs. You don't stay in something for a long period of time unless it's a career. So your career here in Union is valuable to us. It's valuable to the students that you serve. And I wish you well in all your endeavors. But I want to most importantly say that we see you. We recognize you. We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here in 2025 for another successful school year. Thank you again.
And Ms. Scott Hayden, can you join us over here for when we call them up, and pictures as well? So first, I would like to, I'm not sure if Mr. Clark's here, but Deborah DeGangi, come on up. All right, Kira Baskerville, Dr. Baskerville, are you here? Come on up. And then principals, please come up with your staff member. I would like to invite up Carrie Graham. Carrie Graham. Yep. And stay up here. You guys could stay together. We'll get a big picture with everyone. Congratulations. Ms. Drayton, are you here? Come on up. Ms. Drayton, the ESP at Battle Hill is Joan Liento. Joan? Joanne Liento? Sure. Burnett, Ms. Calderon, please come on up. And the ESP at Burnett is Kira Mertens. Come on up, Kira. Ms. Warren, can you come up? Connecticut Farms is next. Gina Jacalone. Ms. Conti or any in the special ed department? So we recognize someone from our Hamilton school, Palma Jangone. Palma? Hannah Caldwell, is Ms. McLean here? Mr. Shaw? No? Okay, art show tonight. I would like to recognize Sophia Travaris from Hannah Caldwell. Is Ms. D'Amato, Ms. Roof here? Oh, talent show, a lot going on. I would like to invite up Quinae Perry. Quinae Perry, come on up. Kiana Perry, congratulations. And Ms. Bossert, can you join us? You get to stay up next, too. And I would like to recognize Lisa Perez from the high school as the ESP from the high school. That's it? Is that everyone? Yep, they're not here. So again, congratulations. Thank you for all your hard work and everything you do. Like Ms. Scott Hayden said, sometimes, things might go unrecognized, but without everyone helping our children, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. So I thank you. If everyone could squeeze in for a picture, come in 2 rows. And let the national ESP get next to them. Thank you very much. Stay up. Thank you. So, Ms. Bossert, if you want to stay up here with me, because the next two we're highlighting are from Union High School. So I'd like you to join me. Is Patricia Bridges, Pat Bridges here? Do you want to tell the public about what Ms. Bridges, I know you were supportive of the efforts of what she did. I'm not going to read everything, but talk about our bus tours to HBCUs.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're all aware, Miss Bridges is one of our school counselors. She started off in Union as a 4th grade teacher at Franklin Elementary School way back when, and then transferred over to the high school to be a counselor. She has started the Peer Ambassador Program, which has over 100 students, sophomores through seniors. They participate in a lot of activities. They help out a lot throughout the school, especially with freshman orientation. She has also taken the kids on HBCU bus trips. She went to Lincoln this year. I think you sponsored that, yeah. I'm not sure the other one. And she's also taken the students to HBCU college fairs Delaware State, where they are able to get scholarships and grants before they even start going to college. So she is an integral part of our counseling team, as well as all of the other counselors. They all do exceptionally great things. But Ms. Bridges has also impacted the school community in a great way. So we're thankful for her.
And this isn't a couple-hour trip during the school day. They're leaving early, getting back late. So it just shows a lot of the times during the year, our educators, our faculty, they go above and beyond for things like this for our children. And I'm very excited because, talking to the students, some of our students they visit local. They don't go and visit a college, a university to then see what it's like. And on top of opportunities, some of them do acceptance, immediate acceptance. So they have interviews, and if they are offered, they could get an offer right there, leave with that. We did go locally to Kane this year as well. Was there any other ones that we went to? So we're trying to not just have the local stuff where our kids could attend, but bring them, and we're going to continue that because I think it's important for them to see the other colleges and universities. And Ms. Bridges is more than welcome, and I thank her for that. The next person I would like to call up is Laz. Everyone calls her Laz Rivera. The reason I wanted to highlight Laz tonight, and I'll let Ms. Bossert speak a little bit as well, is I want to say I got to know Laz when she was our liaison. But seeing the history of Laz, and again, hopefully you might want to still in some way work with us, but gave so many of our years helping our children. And you could see all the things on that 12 years with the PTA, 7 years as the president, and correct any of those are wrong. Were there other schools too?
No,
All right.
that's Connecticut, Kwame, Jefferson, and the high school.
All right, so 7 years as PTA president, 2 years as vice president, 1 year as a secretary, 5 years as the liaison, did things with the Tricky Tray, helped the Boy Scouts along the way, Cub Scouts. You have one son. You would think with all those years you have multiple, but it even shows a lot.
He's graduating this
Yes. So that's why I say, hopefully you'll still help us out. You're also balancing as a project manager for Chubb. You're a cancer survivor. Congratulations, 20 years. And that really hit home with me because my mom's about 10 years in remission. So anyone that has people that are survivors, it means a lot, you know, and I'm thankful. Volunteers at the Janet Fund, and is that they provide AEDs and CPRs for schools?
AEDs for schools that have extracurricular activities, so God forbid anything happens out on the field, they're covered.
Okay. And then, I didn't know this either, you make the best chocolate-covered pretzels and cake pop for families and friends. Did you ever experience that, Ms. Blossom? All right, it's coming. And you love to dance and love Zumba. Zumba, is that right?
Yeah.
You would agree? So I just wanted Ms. Bossett to say a couple words. She has the pleasure of,
Yes.
Laz is this year president
Yes.
of you high school.
So I got to meet Laz last year when I came back to the high school as the interim principal. And Laz is no joke. That's all I'm going to tell you. She will keep you on your toes, but she cares deeply, deeply, deeply about all the students, not just her son. Her son is exceptional. She raised a really, really great young man. He really is an exceptional young man. Laz is extremely detailed. She's organized. She puts in 1,000 gazillion% into everything that she does. And she will make sure you do what you are supposed to do. She keeps everybody in check, keeps everybody in line, and anything that you need done, she would get it done for you. Anything that our kids needed, she did it. Anything our kids wanted, she made sure she made it happen for them. Our kids wanted a senior trip, they made it happen for them, and they did, but I said no. Not this year. So, but we are extremely grateful and thankful to you. Not many parents spend this much time in the PTA. Most people will say, oh, my kid's done, I need a break. But she has pushed through all these years and just continued to make an exceptional impact, and want to say thank you. Thank you.
And before we take a picture, I don't have my glasses on, I gotta read. I put a little something because of the lifetime, really, of what you've done for us and how much time you spent with us. The Township of Union Public Schools is truly grateful for your exceptional dedication and tireless efforts in supporting our school community. Your willingness to go above and beyond has significantly impacted the educational experience for so many students. Your commitment and generosity are deeply appreciated, and we are fortunate to have you as part of our school family. Thank you for everything you've done.
So I'm taking this mic, and I would like to say that my PTAing started, I think Laz was a little bit ahead of me because her son is a year older, right? And I would be Remiss to say that I don't think we always saw eye to eye. But I will say that every time I saw Laz in a room, there was nothing but respect and admiration on both sides. I knew that the tricky tray was going to get done. I knew that the work was going to get done. And overall, I knew that the children would be serviced. And it is, Lazara, deeply my honor to be standing here. Come back, please. I don't care what they say, come back. Do you want to say anything?
Do I want to say?
It's your, come on, you got
Oh. Trying to catch my breath, I'm sorry. First, thank you, thank you, thank you. Second, I've said it 10,000 times and I'll keep saying it over and over again. And my friends that are in the back there, Kathy McGee, I love you, but you know I'm going to say, you are my principal, and you will always be my principal. I appreciate you immensely, because I was able to do a lot of the stuff that I did this year because I knew that I can count on you, and you knew that I was never going to let you down. So thank you. It has been since my son was in pre-K. He's 18 years old right now. He's graduating. I'm graduating. My friends are trying to tell the teachers to keep him back so I can stay a little bit longer. People that have more than one child, I don't know how you do it. All I could say is thank you, because there's nothing more that I enjoy than seeing a smile on a child's face and knowing that I was able to make a difference in their life. I said it last night at the awards, you know, our union, I didn't grow up in Union. I came to Union for my son to go to school. I grew up in Newark. There are great kids in this school. And I love the fact that you guys are here today because it's a Board of Education meeting. But it kills me that there's so many kids in this school and this place should be packed at the seams. So there is a few of us that always want to make sure that everybody else, I'm not knocking parents down, I'm not, please don't look at it that way, but I wish if everybody took a little bit of extra time, these kids would have everything that they deserve and then some. So thank you for letting me do everything I've done the past 12 years. I'm very humbled. I'm not one, even though I'm usually up front, but I don't like being up front. I'm not a person for attention, so it is a little extreme for me right now. But thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you again. Congratulations. Yeah. What we're gonna do is, I'm gonna plug. I do, but it's because it's hardwired. I don't have like the internet thing, so we're gonna plug it in. So then I'll be able to. I'm gonna have Carlos make sure you can get hooked up. What's that? I'm gonna explain that. We do the sports one first and decide what you want to go next. What I'm telling you. That's fine, but can you see how you can get her Because I don't have a way to get her on mine. Thank you again. No, at the end. So again, I want to thank the community for coming out. Obviously, we heard and listened to a lot of community members last time. I just want to go into just some things that so all the public knows. Nothing that was discussed regarding the possibility of an elementary schedule changing was budgetary, because that was put out there that we were cutting the budget, and that's why we were doing it. I want to be clear. We sent in a budget to the county that was approved, right, Ms. Kuhn? It did not have this scheduling change in it. It's nothing part of the budget. So I want everyone to know that. We're not terminating 15 employees, because that, again, was out there. We're not. I did non-renew a couple employees, as districts do yearly, for reasons that I can't speak about because they're personnel matters. But I want to be clear, it's not 15 employees being terminated. I want to be clear that this is, as the superintendent, having to make decisions for our students and what I feel that they may need, or that where I feel we need to improve. Some things need to be board approved officially on the board agenda. This does not have to be board approved, because a lot of people in the public thought or were making comments that the board don't approve it. And I just want to be careful that people understand that it is not the board members that are approving it, not approving it. I'm collaborating with many stakeholders. Thank you, Ann Margaret, for meeting with me the last 2 days. But I'll continue to meet with UTA leadership, staff, and parents. And why I say that is I set up a lot of parent meetings already. I am emailing eventually. Everyone that emails me will get an email response inviting them to a meeting. And if it takes me 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I will sit and listen to your concerns. With that, I'm also meeting with different stakeholders of the education side, our staff. I will meet with the specials. I'll meet with, I have a teacher group that I meet with monthly. I already started the conversation there. I'm going to meet with all different, again, staff members to hear, their input, their thoughts. And every time I listen to someone, something new pops in my head. So it is worth it to sit. 50%, I agree, is not acceptable. And that's across the board. Who would ever say, I want to be 50%? What are you always taught when you're younger? Go for 100, 110%. And that's what we should be doing with everything. Everything. We can't accept 50% for our children. Absolutely. So what are the next steps? Again, I put out a letter to anyone that I had their contact information from last time. I started emailing them. It's going to take time because, again, I'm trying to plug in meetings. I'm waiting for certain people to confirm, and then I'm going on and plugging in more. But again, anyone that wants to meet with me and talk to me, I will schedule a meeting. So I'm going to take additional time to collaborate with stakeholders before making a final decision. During the early summer break, I will provide an update on this matter, as well as a more comprehensive academic vision for our school system, which again, I want everyone to understand, which I'll get into a little bit briefly of where our students are at. I'm not going to be in this position and accept our kids failing. I'm not. I'm going to have to make some tough decisions, but people already opened my eyes to possibly be able to come up with the scheduling might not look the same, but now listening to other people, being able to incorporate different things and figuring it out, maybe we could bet both. And speaking to the UTA leadership today, we already got steps closer. So I want everyone to know that's why I want to set up meetings for those that want me to hear them. I feel like talking a little deeper on the emails I received is healthy. And it might, again, allow me to bring something back to the team, to the UTA leadership, to other stakeholders, and say, what do you think about this? Because I do think there's going to be a way that we could impact both. Get back our time that people I heard want in the specials, in the enrichment, but also be able to also positively impact where our students are at today. First and foremost, and I'll go into it, if we look at, and what has me concerned, is a lot of districts took a big dip right after COVID. We slid from after COVID to the next year, which has me concerned. I cannot allow our students to keep sliding. I wouldn't be doing my job if I just sat back. The easiest thing is sit back and just let things keep going the way they are. I can't then do that. I won't be able to be who I am. So with that, you could see where students not proficient, 36% in 22-23 and 46-22-23 on the math side. One was the comprehension. The next year, first grade, 22-23 went from 41 to 48. In math, 55 to 53. In grade 2, 21 to 22 was 45, 22 to 23, 52. In 21-22, 60 to 65. This will be uploaded. Ms. Capiello puts it on our website. Anyone that wants to download it, it'll be up probably tomorrow. And then in third grade, 59 to 64 in the ELA, 52 to 64 in the math. In grade 4, 62 to 52 and 74 to 64. Even though we didn't slide, that's still not an acceptable proficient. I can't, like I said, I can't allow even 50% of our kids to not be proficient. In grades 5, 62 to 54, 79 to 78 on the math side. Not proficient. So with that, I'm going to keep trying to impact our academics positively. Allow students to not fall behind with reading, literacy. We're doing a lot of good things. It's going to take time, and it's going to take us working together to come up with a system that really meets our kids' needs. What I promise is that I'm going to listen. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take time. I'm going to work with leadership. I'm going to listen to parents, community, families, our teachers. And I'm going to figure out what's best, working and hearing everything. And I'll come back to this July. And again, I'm going to have to make a decision on what our schedule looks like next year. And it's hard for me to leave it exactly the same when I see those numbers. And I don't believe just bringing in a new ELA program, it's going to impact our kids to some degree. But our teachers are the ones that are utilizing that platform, that program, to make the difference. I can't just say, here's a program, I expect their scores to go up. That's not fair. It's the teachers that are working with the students and our staff that are working with the students every day. That's what's going to make the difference. So hopefully, I did send out a letter. I put some copies back there, and I just want to highlight one part of the letter. Again, anyone that emails me, I will make sure they get a copy of this too. And I want to highlight in there that I will take additional time to collaborate with stakeholders before making a final decision. Moving on, Ms. Bossert, again, being in charge of the high school, we got to start recognizing the high school students, and we recognized a lot tonight about the high school, so thank you. But last night was amazing. Not many districts still do this today. But I keep saying it. I've been in this district almost 25 years. The community, our students are amazing. Why this happens is because our community and our students are amazing. We had 172 awards given. 86 people received awards. $85,729 was given away to our students. And I'm telling you, school districts have award nights. I just maybe didn't hear. I don't hear 85,000. Some of them, Ms. Boss said at least 2 were our former students coming back. One came from Maryland to give an award because it meant so much to her. And she's going back to Maryland because she's in grad school there now. She's starting grad school. And it's one of our young lady that's young, did not have to drive up from Maryland. Most people probably, their lives are so busy, she wanted to make a point to deliver this scholarship, especially because she dealt with so much going to college. And then we had another student that I think graduated a little bit earlier, is very successful as a realtor in our district and realizes how much the community benefits him and how, you know, he mentioned last night how thankful he is for the support of his community that he grew up in. He gave Ms. Bossert, it was $9,600, a $9,600 scholarship to one of our students. The UTA, $8,000 total from our UTA. So a lot of times you see a lot of fundraising going on. A lot of it is for the scholarships we give because people want to be able to give back. We have many other organizations that year after year, some have been with us. I know all the time I've been in the district, I've seen the same award given. A lot of it, unfortunately, is in memory of tragic events. But we got to remember that people still want to come because Union meant so much to them. So, Ms. Bosser, thank you again, and we hope we keep that going. As I have to report tonight on HIB, from April 28th to May 14th, we affirmed 10 founded cases, 0 unfounded, 3 inconclusive. That's where the cases were. And now we'll be reporting from May 15th to the 21st. We had 0. It was a good reporting period. We had 1 inconclusive, and that's where Washington School, where the 1 was inconclusive. And I say this because at this time of the year, you know, as you're approaching June, it gets challenging in schools. I think everyone's kind of hitting a wall. It's getting hot now, where, you know, maybe our frustration level is a little higher. The students are ready for summer. And why I say that is because sometimes I think we as a district next year, opening up school, want to make sure we're letting community know what's the difference between HIB and just a conflict. Because I met with a lot of parents this year, and they're like, well, we're friends. But our kids, you know, now there's an investigation between their children, and the parents see it different. So working together, we could, again, make sure everyone understands the difference between conflict, because at certain times the district has to investigate. So, you know, we'll keep improving on making sure everyone's aware of, you know, the difference between that. So next I would like to, Nisa, are you all set? So Nisa is one of our student liaisons. I would like to invite her to share her presentation for this month. And I'll hand over the mic. Do you have to unplug, plug? You could close mine, Carlos, if you need to. The other thing while Nice is getting set up that I wanted to highlight is I've talked to a lot of parents that they ended up unfortunately leaving Union because they felt the schools were not at the level they wanted. this is another thing where we want to move forward. And I believe, I've started my year off in front of everyone. Our kids could do it. Look at where they're at without really having a research-based ELA program, or giving enough of the stuff in the right way, or providing a better opportunity in intervention for the students, and not letting them keep falling behind. We have a lot of, look, this is a very, very attractive community. There's these rentals that are going in all over the place. You can't find vacancies. This is a great community. We have to work together on making sure unfortunately, a lot is on the scores, but that doesn't mean that the child can't learn or isn't learning. It's just, that's also something we're measured on and looked at on. So we can't ignore it. And we got to make sure the students are ready to take those assessments. And we've been talking even about teaching the kids maybe also how to take the assessments. But we have a lot of great things going on in our district. We're going to keep striving to make sure we keep impacting the kids positively in many different ways. And while I still have time, I have to say Dr. Baskerville is with us tonight. And a lot of the things we want to try to do throughout our district, Dr. Baskerville is already implementing. And what are you seeing, Dr. Baskerville? Success. So again, I say this a lot. Our kids, with the right, everything being put together, the puzzle together right, you're going to start seeing different scores right there. And you're going to have kids not grade levels behind on reading and feeling better. We have to always believe in the children and that they can learn, all right, and keep building the relationships. Research shows the relationships with the students, between the educators and the students, that makes a huge difference, as well as the child believing they can learn. So at that point, Niesa, one of our seniors, excellent student going to West Point, I would like you to share your
So good evening, everyone. My name is Nisa again, and this is the March report from the Union High School. One Wednesday, the Union High School softball team will play Scotch Plains Fenwood in the NJSIAA state tournament, and on Thursday, the Union High School baseball team will play the top seed Bridgewater in the NJSIAA state tournament. Good luck to both teams. In the Union County Relay Championship, the Union High School girls shot put team won the Union County Championship. The team consists of Christine Pierre-Louis, Esther Amadi, and Victoria Adebedia. Jane A. Kamara won the Union County Championship in the girls high jump. The boys volleyball team finished the season with 9 wins and 14 losses. The first ever Union High School girls flag football team finished the season with 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties. They defeated Scotch Plains in their final game of the season 35-0. And lastly, Kaya Kuhnhan was awarded the NJSIAA Scholarship Athlete Award. Kaya is a senior athlete that played tennis and softball at Union High School. Kaya has a 4.5 GPA and ranked 32 in her class. She is also the president of the Union High School Student Council. And on that note, I would like to say Happy Memorial Day weekend from us to you guys. Have a great day.
And Niesa and Gia are our student liaisons. I have to say Niesa has done a wonderful job, Gia as well, all year. And it's going to be, when Niesa leaves us next week, she's been here, I think, almost every meeting, if not all of them, to share the great things going on. You know, they're both going to be missed. But anybody out there, we're going to be putting out juniors, seniors to now accept new liaisons for next year. But for the start of this, I'm very thankful, and you did a wonderful job. And we got one more to go. So, Madam President, that does conclude my superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Benaquista. So now I will hand it over to Mr. Buggy for comments from the public on resolutions and all other matters.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a reminder, we had a little reminder last week, public comment. Public comments are to be addressed to the presiding officer. The presiding officer is Madam President Chastity Santana. And to the extent that your comments or questions relate to personnel matters, the board will not be responding to those comments. So just for your information, please keep your comments to 3 minutes, just because it seems like we have a lot of people here, and just give everybody a chance to speak. So, Madam President.
Thank you so much, and I will reiterate it once again. All comments are made to me, the board president, not my board members, and no staff. You cannot mention staff within your statements, and you have 3 minutes. I will. Oh, and so if I do not have your name or in my hand, please make it over to the side. There's cards. And then we will call you one by one. All the time in the world, I am in no rush. So we will begin with, and I'm so sorry if I do not pronounce the name correctly, but I will try. Salam Ismail. No. Oh, no, they can't. You could give it to them and they'll pass it out to us at the end.
Salam Ismail, I'm the director of the National United Youth Council Incorporated, and I'm here, and we're based in Elizabeth, New Jersey, but I'm here on behalf of one of my representatives who is a mother who have a child in the system, and when I read about this in one of your local newspaper, at the behest of one of my representatives, Danielle Pickney, I was very concerned when I hear that some of the most vital things, I've been a counselor for 40 years, some of the roughest and toughest kids in Union County, the juvenile system I worked for many years. And I know we use certain instruments to motivate kids. Music is one of them, arts, you know, certain language. In Elizabeth, we have a 63% Latino community, so Spanish is important. And of course, library. We use the library many times for whatever. Then I'm hearing these cuts, rather than staffing or funding or what have you, and I said, you know, I've seen some of the things, some of the report that the superintendent did, some of the deficiencies and what have you, but I can tell you this much. Some of the most motivating things in learning is with arts and with music. And these are things, in computer, of course, we're in the 21st century. These are things that are very, very important. So I would advise superintendent to really rethink that. And certainly my representative will be willing to meet with you all and offer some ideas that hopefully can be a benefit to the district. And I'm just hoping that we keep our kids first. That's important. It's a message I give to people around the state when I'm talking to board organizations. And let that not be one of the cuts for me. And Liza, what's her name was? Liza? Obviously, she's
Oh, Lazara.
Lazara, you need more Lazara
yes.
like that, because
Yes.
those are the kind of people who we need in our districts across this country that volunteer their time and their effort to motivate our children. But we also have to give them the instrument. And those things that I just named are just some of the things that I hope that you keep at the full capacity. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate your comment. Thank you. Next, we have Danielle Pickney, please.
Good evening. So I prepared like a
Thank you. You have the whole 3 minutes.
Okay, so cutting instructional time for elementary students by 50% will have several negative consequences. It will significantly diminish opportunities for students to develop crucial skills in subjects like art, music, computers, library, and Spanish. These subjects contribute to cognitive, emotional, and social development, fostering creativity, critical thinking, cultural awareness, and technological literacy. Additionally, reducing instructional time could widen educational inequities, as students from less privileged backgrounds may have fewer opportunities to access enrichment activities outside of school. Overall, maintaining adequate instructional time is essential for providing a comprehensive education and ensuring that all students have the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Melissa Antolovich.
I'm the librarian at Battle Hill. As a school librarian, I have several questions about how a semester schedule would be managed for school librarians and special area teachers. I look forward to having these questions answered, and am interested in discussing the role of the school librarian further. Historically, library has not been a prep period for teachers. This ensures flexibility in the schedule. Librarians can change the schedule to best meet the needs of the school community. During testing, schedules can be flipped to ensure all students have access to the librarian and book exchange. Schedules can be adapted to support classroom projects. Librarians and teachers can collaborate to ensure lessons support classroom work. Is the intention to force a fixed schedule on all elementary libraries? This goes directly against best practices for school library management. Making a librarian a prep teacher only honors one of the 5 roles a school librarian is trained to serve. School librarians are teachers and instructional partners, teachers and information specialists who are research experts, teachers and leaders, teachers and program administrators managing thousands of resources daily. Additionally, will students be able to check out books during the semester they do not have library lessons? If so, who would manage this book exchange? How will libraries be managed when they are unstaffed by certified library media specialists? There are tasks that cannot be completed by a clerk or anyone else without the skills learned in the library media specialist certification process. Who will catalog orders at the beginning of the year and throughout the year if the librarian is not scheduled in the building? When we receive donations, these also have to be vetted, researched, written up in an extensive report for board approval, and cataloged. Who will complete this process during the semester the school librarian is not in the building? School librarians monitor circulation statistics throughout the school year and adjust collections based on those statistics. Who will monitor these statistics absent the school librarian? Who will place orders at the end of the year if the library is not staffed by a librarian that semester? Additionally, how will administrative tasks be scheduled if the librarian is not making their own schedule? At the elementary level, librarians serve as Tier 3 support for Chromebooks. Who will handle the distribution and collection of daily loaners? Who will assess Chromebook issues and enter service tickets? Will there be additional tech support staff added to fulfill this role? If additional after-school enrichment is offered, how will the district support the participation of students who are bused? 34% of Battle Hill receive special education services. Many of these students are bused, so does that mean special education students who are bused would not have the same access to enrichment education as students who are not bused? These are my 5 main questions. Will elementary libraries be forced into a fixed schedule where they become prep teachers? Will students still have access to book exchange during the semester they do not have lessons? How will libraries be managed without a school librarian? Who will handle daily Chromebook support? And how will we ensure equal access to after-school enrichment? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next, we have Anissa Har. What's the last name I said wrong?
Hawk. It's okay. My first name is
Oh,
what
it
people
got wet, so I didn't see the cues. Anissa Hawk.
Thank you. Good evening. I am a longtime resident of the Township of Union and an alumna of our public schools. My children actually now attend the same elementary school that I did when I moved here in the 3rd grade. I'm here as a concerned resident, a parent, and an educator at Franklin Elementary School. I think it's important for us to not speak from emotion, which is hard for me, but to look at recent data and relevant up-to-date research when we make decisions impacting our students and their education. To that point, I'd like to pick up where Melissa left off to continue with just a few more questions we have regarding the proposal for special area classes and teachers. We ask that these questions be considered when making your final decisions over the summer. When can librarians and special area teachers expect to know how many and which buildings we are to be serving next school year? What happens when someone with a stipend position who is also a librarian or a special area teacher? How will that individual be able to serve the school building in which they hold a stipend position during the semester that they are scheduled in a different school? What will happen to clubs, fundraising activities, and special events that take place during the day? Examples include, but are not limited to, book clubs, art clubs, Battle of the Books program, Read Across America celebrations, readathons, and book fairs. These are organized and run by your librarians and special area teachers. What will happen to gifted and talented classes which are currently taught by computer teachers? I'd like to close by just calling attention to the fact that research shows a library curriculum that is integrated within ELA classes extends classroom learning to incorporate research skills and independent thinking while providing students with the best opportunity for growth and success. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Ms. Sharon Drayton.
Good evening. I want to applaud our librarians for bringing notice to exactly the specifics and details of how the school runs. There's so many details and that have to be considered, and I applaud you for stepping back and saying, let's look at this again. And I thank you for hearing the community. I pray the community continues to speak. And I want to also offer the administrators to be able to enter the conversation as well. Being an ex-art teacher, it's my heart, and there are ways for us to integrate these the main subjects in our elective classes as well. My initial concern is on September 30th, it was a date that Ms. Bossert and I waited to become permanent principals. The jobs were posted and hiring began this school year, but stopped short of leaving 2 principals in the interim status for 2 years now. Other administrators have been hired without our jobs being resolved. Despite speaking with our union to resolve this, we were told this would be added at the next meeting, which is this meeting, but it was not. Meanwhile, other agenda items are added to the board agenda the day before or the day of the Board of Ed meeting. In addition, we don't have direct conversations that occur sometimes before some are called to the superintendent's office, or we are not the first people that are spoken to. I found out about the elective situation on Facebook. I had no idea. And if I hadn't been posting a picture of a student for Principal's Day with the principal, I wouldn't have found out until Monday morning, which is dangerous. I can't support teachers that I don't know are going through something. With our staff and outsiders of the administrators, particularly principals, have been approaching us about us leaving the schools. Although we did receive letters that we'd be spoken about, we don't know what that is, but they've been approaching us going, oh, I heard you going here, I heard you going there. And we can't speak to that well. We can't speak to it because we don't know. So I feel like so many other people know more of our fate than we do. And with the rest of this year, we want to make sure we're ending it strong. We want to make sure that there's consistency and communication from central office that helps us finish this year and support each other so that we can do this successfully. I want to thank you again for listening to the community. It's so important. And again, offer my services as well to you to help make this decision go well for our staff, our students, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Drayton. Next, we have Gina Calderon McDowell.
Good evening. My name is Gina Calderon McDowell. I'm currently one of the interim principals at Burnett, along with Sean Paterno. For those that are not aware, I am a product of Union Schools, as many of us are here tonight. I attended Washington Elementary, Kiwami, and UHS. 4 years later, I came back as a science teacher at the high school. I became a VP at the high school 10 years ago today. I was on my Facebook on this day. I was moved to Jefferson in 2016. Mr. Shaw called me at the end of the school year in 2019 and said that he was going to be the principal at Burnett, and he wanted Mr. Paterno and I to accompany him so we could join Ms. Drayton, who was the VP there, essentially alone. Our intentions were to move Burnett from that school to the school. In the 5 years we've been there, we've successfully stabilized Burnett by reducing discipline, increasing ELA and math scores, implementing PLCs, RTI, and ELA coach, all showing an immediate impact. Even our new extracurricular activities like our esports, our drone club, our speech and debate are all award-winning. We built a family during our tenure there. Sorry, I'm very emotional. I'm not sure if all of you that are here or watching are aware that Mr. Shaw has not been in our building since March 15th. He's the one person that led us to do all of those positive things for the building. Myself and the other VPs were left with no direction, information, answers.
Mrs. Calderon, we can't speak about,
As-
That's fine.
you- no,
I'm not giving any information. I'm speaking
well,
about myself.
let me say, the risk is on her if she names anybody and says anything or inappropriate. We're not going to respond. The board's not going to respond. But you can, if you're going to be respectful.
I'm absolutely respectful.
Mrs. Calderon, I would strongly caution and urge you not to speak directly about any personnel at this moment, respectfully.
I'm speaking about myself and my experience.
I've given you words of caution. Madam President's given you words of caution. I would suggest heeding those words.
Okay. I'll skip to the end. I wanted to speak at last month's board meeting. I didn't want to overshadow our Teachers of the Year. A majority of our admin team were there. We were in support of our teachers and our colleagues. I was at the work session last week, same reason, supporting our colleague and our teachers for different reasons. Our ESP of the Year this evening. Mr. Paterno and I are upset that we had to find out the way that we did, that our principal was being moved. That's why I'm here. We didn't know that letter was going out. I want that known, that we were unaware, that we found out that way. We did not get a phone call, we didn't get a meeting. We asked for a meeting with the superintendent. We ended up with a meeting with the HR director. We would have liked to been prepared for those questions and phone calls that were directed to us in that letter. There's not a lot of support and communication. I'm just echoing what Ms. Drayton said as well. But despite all the challenges we've been dealing with, I want you to know that we will continue to move Burnett from that school to the school. And we will do it every child, every day, whatever it takes.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Calderon. Ms. Maranatha Gilbadia? Was I close? How are you?
Hello, my name is Maranatha Gobadia. I am in the 4th grade from Battle Hill, and I would like to talk about the schedule change. So, I believe that it's important for specials to remain the length of time that they are, because specials are passion, specials are things that we believe in, and with passion, it's the thing that makes you want to do the subject in the first place. It's the thing that motivates you. It's the thing that makes you want to go and achieve your dream. Whether it's becoming a doctor, or a lawyer, an artist, specials are something that helps you move along. Specials are something that helps you get more confidence in yourself. And I believe that subjects are also equally important, and that students' grades are very important, and that we should find some sort of compromise somewhere. And I believe that we're getting close to that. And I believe that if we work a little bit harder, if we study more, find more facts, that we'll find somewhere an open window that will make it much easier for students' grades to improve. Because after all, that's why we're all here. We're all here to help each other. And I believe that if we all find an open space, something that we're passionate about, we're going to succeed in one way or another. Thank you.
You inspire me to be better, young lady. Oh, gosh. Okay, so next. Masama Smith Thomas.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Hassana Smith Thomas. I am from the National United Youth Council out of Elizabeth, New Jersey, and Sanam Ishmael is our director. So, of course, I'm here on behalf of the Eliminating the Special Programs. I was reading a letter that was dated for May 20th, and one of the sentences in the letter was speaking about the feedback, how it has been invaluable, and how you want to assure that you have listened and you heard all the comments from the parents and students and staff, which is great for me. But we need a little bit more action. The ages of K through 4 is critical. This is the time when they're learning their craft, they're having fun with their craft. And this starts them with their journey on life. I have a niece and nephew that grew up in the public school system. Two, one of them was a parent, their parent had 6 children. The parent did not have no type of arts in her background. But that child right now was 24, and just came back from Italy on a full scholarship and opened up her own art gallery. So, eliminating these programs, it does not allow the children to participate in critical thinking activities, and it enhances their adaptability with exploring new subjects. It decreases children's chances to become culturally engaged in the arts and history. Younger children express themselves through their art. Some of us, as we was growing up, we didn't have the option of expressing ourselves. It was told what stayed in our house, what happens in our house stays inside the household. Through art, they can express themselves. Through art, they can grow and help other children as well. We have to keep these services in for our children. And as you said earlier, 50% is not enough. We need 100%. 50%, we can't afford to lose not one child. Not one child. So please, thank you for listening to us, but we need a little bit more action. And we need to make sure that our children are safe and our children get everything they deserve, 120%. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Laura Kochoy. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Drayton.
That's okay. I blame my husband for giving me that.
I'm sorry.
I'm a teacher at Burnett Middle School. I am a proud graduate of Burnett Middle School. I was the first graduating class of Burnett Middle School when we switched from a junior high school to a middle school. I've been teaching at Burnett for 19 years. And in the past 5, I have to say that Burnett Middle School, it just keeps getting better. And I know that I'm not mentioning names and I'm not talking about anybody or anything. But I will say this. There have been changes recently. They are not the best changes, but the faculty and the administration that is still at Burnett Middle School is committed to the children that we see every day. And we will continue to be committed to those children until the last day of school this year and going into the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have Mr. Jean-Paul Adams.
Madam President, members of the board, hello again. I'm here to ask for action rather than words, right? So we did have a conversation last week that we would sit there and think about the resolutions that we are going over, but also about transparency and making sure that the information that is provided is done so in a timely manner where it's not sort of thrust on people, but instead where we sit there and get to look at some of the information. Part of this is a request to get that council of parents, teachers, administrators, board members, where we sit there and talk through things instead of just having them be shown to us, right? The other piece is for the recognition, and while I understand the movement for the teachers and the movement for 50% is not a budgetary thing, we did get an additional $11 million, right, from the state of New Jersey that we could utilize to provide support to teachers to drive up these scores instead, right? If the goal is to ensure that we are driving up scores for all students, the best way to do that is to provide teachers with the support that they need so that they are not as burnt out as they are right now. The secondary piece of this is trying to figure out where else we can find the time, right, for not only our students, but for the people that teach them, right? So if we're sitting there and we are looking at those things and we are making sure that we have the funds necessary, and it does look like we do, right? And we have the time necessary, which it doesn't look like we do, because there are teachers all over the district and all over the state that are shorthanded, right? We don't have enough paraprofessionals, we don't have enough teachers to fill those positions. So let's figure out ways to make that happen, because cutting arts, cutting music, which gives kids the ability to sit there and have math within music, right? Arts gives you the shapes and designs, trigonometry, algebra, all of the different pieces that all of those enrichment courses, which are not enrichment courses, right? They are part of what make us better as people, right? When we sit there and we look at those things, there has to be a better way than pulling those things away for 10 minutes a day for math, right? There are students that, no matter how much we give to them in that particular area, are not going to be able to figure that out, right? Einstein was notoriously bad at regular mathematics, but he proved to be one of the most intelligent people in the 20th century. So the ask here is to be more transparent. The ask here is to work with the community, work with the people that we have, right? That being the board, parents, teachers, UTA, all of us, to make sure that these decisions are not made in darkness, but instead with the ability for everybody to see it.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your comment. I have Carol LeBlanc.
Good evening. My name is Carol LeBlanc. I'm a special ed teacher currently at Battle Hill Elementary School. And I would like to say thank you to Dr. Benaquista for going back and taking the time to look at some of the changes that they are thinking for next year's scheduling change. However, I have some things that you might not have considered. Reducing specials for all elementary schools has a different effect on each school. Battle Hill has a population that is around 35% special education. These kids thrive in music and art class. It would be a complete disservice to take these classes away from them. Also, if we reduce the special area subjects, it will surely lead to these classrooms being used for other purposes, which may lead to the students being in the classroom for most of the day, except for lunch and gym, which may lead to more behavior issues in the classroom and on the playground. Also, when looking at the supposed changes, our co-teaching pairs and our resource room teacher are just meeting the time needed as stated in their children's IEP. If extra time is added by taking away specials, you will either have to change the IEPs to meet the times, which there is not enough in the day, or you will have general ed teachers teaching special education kids reading and math without a special ed teacher in the classroom. Lastly, I know that we are trying to increase learning in the classroom to make sure our students are successful. However, I feel that while the administration, the teachers, and the staff play a part, you are missing a key piece, and that is the parents. We have been implementing some new math and language arts programs in the last couple of years. I think it would be most beneficial to let our parents in on our curriculum that we teach and show them how they can support their children's learning at home. We saw that over COVID, the parents said they didn't understand what their child was learning. Imagine how impactful it would be if there was a collaboration between the teachers, the parents, and the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Michelle Osborne Warren.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Education. It has been my privilege and honor to serve the Township of Union School District for the past 20 years. It's been rewarding to be part of the growth in students and to know that I was part of their foundational years. However, before I leave for my retirement, I would like to speak to you about a few areas that have been of great concern to me lately. My first concern centers on the stability and longevity of Black and brown administrators in the district. The longevity of Black and brown administrators are extremely low. If you look at the data, it would reveal that we have lost more Black and brown administrators than any other group. In fact, over the last 8 years, we've lost our first Hispanic assistant superintendent, 3 Black male administrators, 1 Black female administrator, and a Black female supervisor. Their moves have more to do with underlying conflict, feeling unsupported, and feeling their administration was being scrutinized far more than their colleagues. My second concern is regarding the current state of affairs regarding positions placed in our district. Currently, 2 principals in the district have had long-lasting positions, both starting as teachers who have invested their entire professional career in this district and are still functioning as interim principals. I bring this to your attention because other administrators are coming on board and new positions are being created, yet our staff, our administrators, are still waiting 2 years in. Now, it has not been a surprise that I am aiming to retire at the end of this school year. I shared my decision with my staff in October. Given the timeline, it would have been highly effective for the district to begin to nurture and culture the next candidate for Connecticut Farm School. This would have been a great opportunity to offer my position to one of the qualified assistant principals, vice principals, or supervisors, but instead the district felt it was appropriate to offer the role to an out candidate who had left the district. My last portion of my discussion is personal, as I would like to share an experience I had that played a major role in my choices to retire. During the 2022-2023 school year, I maintained the same expectations for the previous school year, which are that my staff read educational books, collected and analyzed data, had staff participate in PLCs, and did tremendous walkthroughs throughout my building. It was then brought to my attention by the central office that my staff stated that these expectations were too high. I later learned that I was also being called a bully because of my standards. When I heard this information, I was hurt and taken aback. Instead of being supported by the district and having this issue investigated, I was asked to try and develop better relationships. When I pushed to have examples shared with me as to when I was a bully and provided the resources to confirm this, these false accusations impacted my character and my evaluation score as an administrator. And the whole time I've been an administrator in this district, I've never received a score such as the one I received. When I spoke to administration about this score, it was shared that it was because of the statements that was made about me. To conclude my statement tonight, I ask that the Board of Education take the time in these matters and consider, why are Black and brown administrators leaving at an alarming higher rate compared to our colleagues? Why haven't 2 qualified and dedicated administrators been given permanent positions at the schools? And why are they waiting over 2 years to be considered? Why is that the standards I have set and maintained during my tenure at Connecticut Farm School being questioned, and when they were established years before? How is it appropriate that statements such as being a bully are loosely used and being acknowledged and not investigated? I ask that you take the time to ponder on these questions and share and provide that the correct answers or solutions are created so that no one else in this district has to go through any of this again. Thank you for the considerations.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Yarrow Wilman Cole.
Good evening, Madam President Santana. My name is Yarrow Wilman Cole. I have 2 children that are still little at Livingston Elementary, and I'm really here to just share with you the efforts of parents trying to come together to express how they feel about the way in which the decision was recently shared, and fundamentally how we disagree with this concept that was presented at the last week meeting, that time is the best thing that we can do in terms of trying to address our academic achievement, and that is by cutting enrichment. This seems to be a faulty premise, and we compiled a bunch of research. We spent a lot of time looking at what is out there in terms of recent research and how really a lot of evidence counters the idea that enrichment actually takes away from, in fact, improving academic assessment and achievement. So we have a sign-on letter that in 24 hours we were able to communicate with a group of parents that signed on, nearly 300 of them. And I think, one thing that, we understand today after receiving the letter from the superintendent, thank you for listening to concerns, for expressing your interest in wanting to collaborate with stakeholders and offering, from what I understand, individual meetings. I think what I'm concerned about, and many of the folks that signed this letter, is this idea that that is essentially collaboration, and that's how we're going to actually take the time to understand what is happening, because it's not really clear if it's a decision or a proposal, and when the proposal becomes a final decision, you've sort of indicated, I think, that you're still contemplating whether or not it's going to be fully executed, what's the timeline. There's not a lot of transparency and information, and to really be truly collaborative, we would like to see a plan that is more open to how you're going to be truly inclusive and seek input from stakeholders, and especially, of course, for our purposes, parents, and parents that have busy schedules, many of whom are, at talent shows right now, or getting their kids fed into bed. And so we're really trying to find a solution, and would like to discuss ways in which, we could actually have some of the folks that are signed onto this letter be involved in those discussions. And I think offering individual meetings to discuss solutions is not really ideal, because we really are deeply troubled by the decision, and the fact that it was communicated with members of the public in such a way that denies us really input and feedback, as we are going to be impacted directly by this decision. And I think the biggest concern that we have is that what is the path forward, and understanding and how we can have more of a collaborative way of being heard, understanding proposals, and really providing input and solutions that are informed by what the research says.
Excuse me, your time has expired.
Okay. So I'm going to leave the letter. I've already emailed it to you.
Please take the letter with you if you've already emailed it to the superintendent. That's fine.
So you don't want copies? I thought you took copies.
Thank you so much for your comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry, I couldn't. So the first name is Mazel Zara? Zara? The last name is it Zara? Thank you.
Hi there.
Hello, how are you?
My name is Michelle Zada. This is actually my third Board of Ed meeting. I'm a new parent kind of in the district. As I mentioned before, that my daughter was in the first 3K program at Union with the pilot program. So again, thank you for that. And the popularity is going to expand it and also affect my son. I actually came in September to talk about aftercare that wasn't offered in half day, and that I didn't get to thank you guys on, because you guys extended the half days to aftercare. But in that presentation that I had seen in September is Dr. Pennequist's report of how the elementary schools were doing and the rest of the school district. And as in that report, it had shown that that the elementary schools, out of all the schools, were impacted the most with COVID. I also went to last week's meeting too, where it wasn't really transparent of how these decisions were made. So, and I also got that email from Benequista saying that want to meet. To me, I don't know if anything's changed. Like, I don't know that teachers that have, faculty members that have lost their jobs are going to get them back, because that was reasons for a forced reduction. Are we, like, when are we making this decision? Like, how are we going to talk amongst the, are we all kind of, this is like the end of the year. So when are we going to be setting up meetings? Again, I don't want really individual meetings. I think collaboratively with parents coming together. And also, I really would like the teachers' input too. There was things that when I went to that meeting last week that I didn't really know that was going on in the school district until I actually heard teachers speak and about the input of how the extra activities would get cut. So having teachers within those schools too on that program, I think cutting those extra activities would really hinder the students, and it has shown studies that if you support those, that it actually increases the test scores. Too, as a parent, I would actually like to look, I'd actually like to hear at the school district level, that instead of going to a Board of Ed meeting and spending 3 hours, that these test scores being talked amongst like principals and teachers in that regard. So the parents actually have an understanding where we are with our students instead of individually. I think also too is that, you know, there be transparency of how our budget is being spent. So, you know, if that, the presentation was dealing with, because we have a budget crunch, and then we got $11 million in fundings.
Excuse me, your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next is Susan Lipstein.
A lot of people have already said what I was going to say, but the first thing I'm going to do is ask a question, and I'd like you to wait till my 3 minutes are up for response. Why are we eliminating District Policy 5755, Equity in Educational Programs and Services? There's nothing in this policy that I think we should be following it. I don't think we should eliminate it, and I'd like to get an answer as to why it was chosen to be eliminated. But after my 3 minutes, I sent an email to all of the board members and to Dr. Benaquista. I spent a lot of time on this email. I'm going to ask that it be put into correspondence, so it be put in the backup the next, when the minutes come out, because it's really important. Yes, there was no transparency in this kind of curriculum change. I think by now you've figured out that's not a good thing to do. I don't want to belabor the point. Everybody makes some decisions that need to be changed, makes mistakes, we all do. But to have this kind of a curriculum change presented at a work session was an unfortunate choice of how to do it. And I can't say that it's all on Dr. Benaquista, because it was released and discussed by the Board of Education president. And I believe before something like that is released to the public, everybody needs, well, the team, including all the supervisors and administrators, need to look over such a plan. I did my research, and there is no real research that shows that there is a real direct positive link to any increase in instructional time, and there is absolutely no study, no research study that shows that there are any educational benefits to cutting enrichment programs. None, zero. So we want to base our decisions on sound research and policy, and of course the world language. How can we possibly expect to teach 18 weeks of world language and then not pick it up till 7 or 8 months later? The state itself says world language is supposed to be taught in sequential learning. I can't see how 18 weeks on and 7 months off is sequential. And there is a policy about development of curriculum, which this is, that's policy 2210, and it's saying what the superintendent is saying now, but it would have been better if this had been looked at prior to last week. These are the policies. Procedures for curriculum development ensure effective participation of teaching staff, students as appropriate for their age and grade, parents, the community, members of the board, and the use of all available resources. Superintendent shall report to the board the objectives, evaluative criteria, and the cost of each proposed program before seeking board adoption. I did not see this done. You need to go back and look at your policies and follow them. I'm not happy having to come up to talk about these things. Just make your
Excuse me.
based on sound educational research and practice.
Mrs. Lipstein,
Facts,
time's
state,
up.
and board policies need to be followed. Thank you. Is there an answer about the policy, why we are?
My answer will be thank you for your comment. Next, we have Andrew Paterick? Patrick? respond to anything. The kids are going. Don't they? Did you hear what I said? Did you? You don't want oranges?
Okay, so my name is Nisa, this is Andrew, this is Ryan, and this is Leo. And we are high school students in Union High School. And these are how we think the special impacts will impact students within our school district.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak tonight. I'm here on behalf of my fellow students to talk about how important art, music, libraries, computers, and Spanish classes are to us. Instead of just listening to all the benefits of these programs, I want you to hear directly from the students. These programs bring so much joy and inspiration into our lives and help us grow in ways that go beyond just academics. Cutting these programs would take away the things that make school exciting and meaningful for many of us. So please listen to the stories of my peers and understand what these cuts really mean for us.
Hello, my name is Ryan Pierce, and I had prepared a speech. Hello, my name is Ryan Pierce. As an 11th grade high schooler in the Performing Arts program, also known as the UHS PAC in Union High School, it was very important to me as a young individual to learn about the arts and different musical instruments that drove my interest and passion for the arts as a whole. I remember as a little boy started to play the violin and practicing every day in orchestra class and trying to learn how to better my skills. As I went about my elementary school years, I gradually started to become more interested in singing. In middle school, I did choir and enjoyed it so much. I think the reason that I enjoyed it so much was because of my passion for the arts, but also because I had time to take in what I was learning and to really enjoy my time in the choir/orchestra room. I feel that if you take away that joy of being able to enjoy a full year of playing a musical instrument and singing in a classroom with others that enjoy the same environment, it won't be as enjoyable anymore. I think that this generation of kids should be more able to fully focus on being able to pursue their dreams and passion for a full year of school, instead of locking their doors of curiosity and putting them on a time limit. As a former student in Union High School, I hope that the board members can make the right decision for this next generation of kids that want to explore the curiosity of the arts. As my fellow UHS PAC member and my friend Olivia Montez de Yoka said, the arts and learning the world languages fosters creativity, which is based for all subjects. From scientists to profound authors, every idea stems from a place of creativity and brilliance. By limiting the student involvement within the arts and language, you are placing educational limitations on our future. As educators, it is your job to establish a foundation to our future generation, a generation meant to be better and expand on our current society. It is wrong to limit the range of education for prospective students by limiting the arts and world languages that you are limiting the minds of the youth of America. I highly recommend you reconsider your position, especially from a standpoint of an education system founded on the morals of a supportive learning environment where every student is challenged, inspired, empowered, and respected as diverse learners, as you stated in your mission statement. Thank you.
So on each slide, we have quotes from students that say how these activities have impacted them and how it has helped them. So for computers, It says, this class has been one of the most interesting and fun classes I've taken. We've also learned a lot about literature design and user testing. Learning how to use computers will be beneficial in my future. So the students also looked at not just how it was beneficial, but how it also impacted them in their school and daily lives. So it said, learning to code can be used in projects, work with teachers and peers to solve any issues that might face while coding, build physical models as part of design process, and participate in non-technological activities to introduce students to basics of CS. For music, music is relating. I get to learn the violin. I love to sing. I can sing at my school concerts. So in music, they said they saw creativity, better SAT scores, music can be relaxing, kids can learn teamwork, emotional development, increased coordination, confidence, memory, and stress relief.
For Spanish, some of the quotes we have are, it's amazing to learn a new language. You can add it to your college resume. A lot of jobs require you to be bilingual, and there are many countries that you can visit if you speak the language. I would also like to just point out that I am wearing a Spanish Honor Society shirt, so check us out. Fluent speakers benefit from improved problem solving, memory, and critical thinking, boosting academic success and job prospects. Early fluency opens global opportunities, fostering an appreciation for diverse cultures. So for the library, library media is one of my favorite classes. I have learned many things in Mac and VIA, and I love reading the nonfiction books and history. I learned how to code using the BBots and how to get information from books easier. I did not like when library lessons were canceled. This cut is not only affecting the elementary students, but also the high school students. Miss M made me feel valued, loved, and gave me a safe space. She is like a mom to so many of us, and we don't want to be without her. The library is my safe space.
So this is from a Battle School elementary school student, and that is, right side, is from a first grader. And I guess these are their drawings. So in conclusion, so the students' voice matter. These programs are at risk, are vital to our education and personal growth. Preserve the joy of learning. Art, music, libraries, computers, and Spanish classes inspire and motivate us. Our request, please consider the impact on students and keep these programs in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Next, we will have Ann Margaret Shannon, please.
Good evening, Ann Margaret Shannon, Spruce Street Union and UTA President. First, I think Laz left, but I personally and the UTA as a whole really thank her for all that she's done, and she has done some pretty personal things for some of our members, so I wanted to make sure that we gave her a shout out. Second, I wanted to acknowledge all the ESPs of the year. I think it's important to recognize, I don't think people realize that Union County does do an official Teacher of the Year awards, but they do not do an ESP of the year. And so the UTA did institute that in this district, and we do really appreciate that Dr. Benaquista and President Santana and the entire board do support us, and that we work together to do those ESP of the Year awards, because like I said, Union County does not do them. So congratulations to all those winners. And third, I thank the Board of Education for listening to us, especially the UTA concerns last week. I am happy to report that since last week, Dr. Benaquista has met with UTA leadership twice. We've had successful conversations that have led to progress being made. I am very hopeful that we'll be able to work out more details in the future. One significant change has already been confirmed, and I know Dr. Benaquista will continue to meet with UTA leadership, our special area teachers, and other groups in the community to discuss these issues. I also want to acknowledge, as was mentioned earlier, as witnessed by the presentation last week, that these potential changes we know were from central administration and not the Board of Education, but we did want to share our concerns with you so that you could hopefully help us. Having said that, I am confident that all parties, the Board of Education, the Union Township Education Association, Central Administration, the community, the PTAs, and any pertinent groups will work together to come to an agreement regarding any changes moving forward in the next school year. Again, I thank Dr. Benaquista and President Santana for hearing all of our concerns, as all of the Board of Ed members have. And I hope that we work together, and I do believe we'll come up with an acceptable resolution for all those involved. So thank you.
It was our absolute pleasure to hear all those comments and these current comments. Thank you so much, Ann Margaret Shannon. Next, we have Jocasta Brenz Watson.
Good evening. Jocasta Brenz Watson, 113 Independence Court, former board member. Thank you for having me here today. Before I actually go into my remarks, because I do not want to run out of time, I just want to thank the educators in this district for their hard work, the teachers in the classrooms, for all that they do for our students on an everyday basis, for guiding them to be successful. As the parent of a Union Township graduate, watching my son flourish beyond this district, it is something that I am forever grateful. The other thing that I want to say is, if we really want to show our appreciation for our administrators and our interim principals, the best way to do this is by actually making them permanent principals. Stop dragging them around. You know they're working very hard. So let's do the right thing for them. I am here today to express my disappointment in the Board of Education's recent decision to eliminate the position for the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum. This move not only jeopardizes the quality of education in our district, but also raises serious ethical and moral concerns about the actions and intentions of this board. First and foremost, the board's decision demonstrates a blatant disregard for ethical behavior. The Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum is an accomplished educator who has been instrumental in advancing our educational standards and ensuring that our students receive the best possible education. Your decision to end her contract is clearly motivated by the fact that she challenged several of you and your disregard for the well-being of our students. She challenged you and your superintendent, and your ego could not take it. Terminating such a dedicated and effective leader without justifiable reasons. It's a grave disservice to our students, educators, and the entire community. It is becoming obvious that certain members of this board are using their positions for personal financial gain. Such behavior is not only unethical, but also deeply damaging to the trust and integrity that should underpin our educational system. Yes, I'm speaking specifically about the contracts carefully crafted to give somebody a $200 contract, which explain why some people change their position under superintendents. Meanwhile, you slash our instructional budget and deprive our students of a well-rounded curriculum. Our community deserves leaders who prioritize the welfare of our students over their own financial interests. Furthermore, I must address the board's decision to appoint the current superintendent to the helm of our district. This individual is known for his blatant cronyism and lack of understanding of the inner workings of a school district. I know and you know.
I'm sorry, we are not, you are directing all your the comments to me. We're not talking about our superintendent.
I am speaking to you.
You are not
Ms. Prince-Watson,
gonna,
I would ask you to stop the meeting and being disrespectful to the superintendent. Your
Mr.
person-
Buggy?
Ms. Prince-Watson, please.
I'm listening.
I would ask you to refrain from doing that.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Buggy?
Yes, Ms. Prince-Watson.
Yes, I will be, I know where my legal rights are, Mr. Buggy. The actions of this board are not just a disappointment. They are a betrayal of the trust placed in you by this community. It is imperative that those in positions of power act with integrity, transparency, and genuine commitment to the educational mission of our district. Personal agendas and unethical behavior have no place in governance of our schools. I strongly urge this board to reconsider its decision and to act in a manner that truly reflects the values and priorities of our community. Our students, educators, and families deserve better. You know, at the end of my remarks, I was going to say that it's time for this board to demonstrate accountability and ethical leadership. Here's the thing. I respected you.
Ms. Prince Watson, your time's up.
Thank you for your comment. Next, we have Ms. Kayla Khalid.
Kayla Khalid, 332 Martin Road. Higher achievement is a large undertaking, a large task that often comes with a robust of offerings and a village. The right direction is through relationships, and it's more than with just students. It's community and transparency. If you don't label the cause of the problem, you can't find the solution. So my question is, or my thoughts, have you begun data collection from our students and our staff that look at why the numbers are the way they are? Not just programs, but looking at and asking the professionals that are with our kids every day what they see and asking our kids what they need. What about think tanks? Or is it only those that contacted the superintendent directly that have an opportunity to partake? Are we partnering with Kane University and their powerful research abilities? Are we learning from districts that are neighboring that are achieving more than we are within a similar demographics? Are we coming together? Are we building? Because how do we ask our kids to do extra, push for more, be resilient, and inspire them when we are offering less than that and when we're doing less than that? When our excitement extinguishes the soul, when we take away the real benefits of music and art and the interest of the fastest growing field, or the magic of a book. Maybe they're not interested in reading because we're telling them what to read instead of them being inspired or chatting in a library about, did you see this? I picked this up last. Those are the things that will create great readers, or the ability to build empathy and resiliency of learning another language. So we have so many amazing people in this district that can contribute, and for those people to not have an opportunity to come together and build as our community is supposed to is leaving something at the table, something we shouldn't. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next, we have Maida Chinosi.
Good evening. My name is Maida Chinosi. I am a Union resident. I am a concerned parent of a second grader at Washington Elementary School, an incoming kindergarten, and I'm here today also as a taxpayer. The superintendent's and board's proposal to cut critical funding for the district's music, art, and language programs is an affront to our children and our whole community. These subjects are not mere specials. They are vital to providing our children with a comprehensive education that not only develops but nurtures a well-rounded student. Contrary to Dr. Jeffrey Cohen's presentation last week to the board, there is scientific and empirical data that supports preserving art, music, and language programs for the well-being and development of our children rather than cutting or limiting our children's access to them. Moreover, these funding cuts disproportionately impact our children of color and our special needs children, who are the ones who benefit most from these programs. Numerous studies demonstrate that participation in arts and language learning enhances critical thinking, problem solving, and cognitive abilities. These skills are not only essential for academic success over all subjects, but actually necessary for success in life. A 2007 research project found that performing and visual arts challenge students to use reasoning skills, both concrete and abstract, to draw conclusions and formulate ideas. Research studies also show that students attending schools with a consistent and integrated arts curriculum have overall higher academic and social achievements than students who attend schools that provide them with low or inconsistent exposure to the arts. An integrated and continuous art education curriculum not only improves students' academic achievement as manifested on standardized tests, but also allows these children to outperform their peers. A study from 2021 by Save the Music Foundation that conducted a 5-year program in the city of Newark, which has similar demographics to Union, as an example of the impact that music education has on the students in the city of Newark. 68% of teachers reported improved student academic performance. 19 out of 28 teachers reported seeing improvement in at least 50% of their students' academic performance. 2 to 5 point increase improvement in ELA scores. Language and arts education exposes students to diverse cultures, fostering empathy, understanding, and global citizenship. In our increasing interconnected world, these qualities are invaluable to our children. Equity and access. Cutting funding to arts, music, and language programs in this district disproportionately impacts students of color, immigrant students, low-income communities, and special needs students. This should be a top priority for this district, which is predominantly made up of students of color. Arts, music, and language programs are critical to...
Ms. Chinosi, your time is up.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next, we have Susie Mensah.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you?
I'm Susie Mensah. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you again this week. I was here last week sharing some of the experiences of my 3 children that attend Washington Elementary School and how invaluable the arts curriculum has been to their academic development. I'm just here to echo a lot of what was shared by many of our parents and community members here today. I appreciate the email that was sent earlier today and the opportunity to meet one-on-one with Dr. Benaquista, but I do want to, again, stress the importance of enrichment program. I know this, tonight the topic began just sharing about the academics that are happening here. I just want to restate for emphasis. I know everyone has said it, but enrichment programming, including the arts, language education, technology integration, and library access, it's fundamental to our children's development and should not be treated as an optional addition to their education. As many of the parents have shared, and with the letter that the parents have written and garnered hundreds of signatures, that showing studies consistently show numerous benefits of exposure to these programs, including improved cognitive abilities as well as academic performance, in addition to just enhancement in social and emotional skills. I want to reiterate that, and while I appreciate the opportunity to meet one-on-one, I do want to propose potentially maybe a work group that will be inclusive of the administration, the staff, the educators, as well as the parents and the community. I know time is of the essence. Our school year is going to approach quite quickly, and if it's a more efficient use of time instead of the one-on-one meetings, I would gladly give up my time to so that the superintendent will have the time to maybe work more so in work group and get feedback from all stakeholders more collaboratively and transparently, so that we can all, we all want great academic achievement for all our kids, but we don't want it at the expense of our arts programs. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next, we have Miss Monique Cooper.
Hello, my name is Monique Cooper. I'm here on just to share a bit of my disappointment for our Burnett Middle School. I have 3 children in this school district. I have been with the PTA for, I'm not going to say how many years. I'm right now the PTA president at Burnett. I have a student who has graduated Burnett. I have another child who is about to graduate, and I have now a 6th grader there. I've been on the PTA board for the past 4 years, the executive board, and the school has been thriving because of Principal Shaw. Yes, I said his name, and I will say it again, because of Principal Shaw. That school is doing wonderful. My children are doing wonderful because of Principal Shaw and his staff and the teachers. When you are on the PTA, and most of you know this because you probably have been there, you are in that school a lot, unannounced. You see a lot. You hear a lot, good and bad. They don't always see you coming. And I'm telling you, that school is doing what it's doing because of him. Now, I don't know how decisions are made for the principals and vice principals of these schools, but I do understand that it's coming from the district office. Now, listening to what's happening around here, it seems like we want our students to do very well. We want our students to get these excellent test scores. Well, that's probably going to happen if the district takes a look at their principals and their vice principals and shows them a little appreciation and figures out why there is a merry-go-round of principals going here, there, and there, and here. If a principal is at a school and the school is doing well, why are we moving him? You know why we're moving them? Because these adults are worse than the kids with the crap that goes on in the school and who's saying what and who sees this and who's seeing that one and who's seeing that one. So let's put people there because that person has the right ear or is with the right person doing the right thing. As a parent, it's disgusting. Disgusting. So now, let's see what's going to happen in the next couple of years. Mr. Shaw is not a principal that needs to be in an elementary school. Elementary school children at that age level are going through a lot, and you have to have a certain talent to deal with that age group. Mr. Shaw, Principal Shaw, has that. You want to put somebody in Hannah Caldwell? Put someone in there who's ready to retire, not Principal Shaw. He's not the guy, okay? And I don't know, again, how this all works out, or how you guys are making these decisions, but if you want to see these students' test scores go up, you start with them. You start with your principals. You start with your vice principals. You start with your teachers. Once they feel appreciated and they feel respected, they go into that school with that same energy. That energy
Thank you,
that
Ms.
gets trickled on to the students.
Ms.
That's
Cooper.
when we're going to see success.
Thank you so much for your comment. My index cards are done, but if anybody still wants to make a comment, I'm in this for the long haul. I will wait. Please let me know if any comment wants to be made because I am here to listen, no matter who you are. Going, gone. So thank you so much. That ends our public comment. Next, we will have the Education Student Discipline Committee Chair, Mr. Cohan, to present the resolutions to be voted on tonight.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to acknowledge that on the printed agenda items E1, E1A, and E13 were acted upon at our work session last week, so there'll be no vote required. And Resolution E11 is the superintendent's report of HIV for reporting purposes only, and there is no vote required on that item either. So upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the education student discipline committee presented the following resolutions for consideration. I'd like to move them unless resolutions E1A through E14. It's not working? Okay. Sorry. How far back do I need to go?
Just start. Just go from where you
Okay,
were.
Sorry. Didn't notice the flashing light. I'd like to acknowledge that Resolution E1 and E1A, along with Resolution E13, were adopted at our work session last week, so they will not be acted upon tonight. Resolution E11 is the report of the superintendent's report, IV. We're losing it again. There we go. Well, let's try this one. Third time's a charm. Resolution E13 was also acted upon at our meeting last week. E11 is the superintendent's report of HIB. No vote is required. It's for reporting purposes only. I'd also like to point out that Resolution E14 is newly added, was not discussed last week. That is to accept the Union Education Foundation grants that were noted in the correspondence. So as a result, on behalf of the committee and upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I'd like to move resolutions E1A through E14 en masse.
Is there a second? Any discussion? This motion has been properly moved by Mr. Cohan and seconded by Ms. Marilyn Williams. May I have a roll call, please, Mrs. Capiolo?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mrs. Capiolo. Next, we will have the Fiscal and Planning Committee Chair, Madam Vice President Carbonell, to present the resolutions to be voted on tonight.
Madam President, before I begin, I just want to thank again all the paras and congratulate them for their contribution to our school district. I will also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the teachers. I believe the first week in May, we celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week. So thank you all for everything that you do. And our student board member, thank you for wishing everybody a happy Memorial Day weekend. And thank you to the fallen soldiers, the vets, and the active servicemen for their selfless and courageous protection of us. Okay, so thank you. Before we begin, I just want to say F7, F9A. I apologize, I gotta go through the. And F35 were approved at the work session last week, and F34 is for informational purposes only. With the exception of that, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Fiscal and Planning Committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. F1 through F35.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This motion has been properly moved by Ms. Carbonell and seconded by Ms. Nancy Manisi. Can I have a roll call, please, Mrs. Capiolo?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mrs. Capiolo. We currently have nothing on the agenda for grievance negotiations and settlements. So I will move on next to operations. Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden to present the resolutions to be voted on tonight.
Good evening. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the operation committee presents the following resolution for the board's consideration. If without objection, I would like to move them in block, Madam President.
Please.
So we have 01 through 05.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? This motion has been properly moved by Kimberly Scott Hayden and Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden and seconded by Ms. Nancy Manisi. Can I have a roll call, please, Mrs. Capiolo?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mrs. Capiolo. Next, we will have the Personnel Committee Chair, Ms. Nancy Manisi, to present the following resolutions.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
We have, in addition, a walk-on, P14,
So I'd like to read that and then go through the others. P14 is to approve attendance at the CA LMI Summer Institute for Vincent Rotino and Yvonne Lorenzo to attend. Building Bridges, Fostering Authentic Partnerships in San Diego, California, June 23rd to the 27th at no cost, at the cost not to exceed $10,500.
Include
And
Mr.
Cohen,
Cohen
oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cohen as
as
well.
well.
And who?
All three.
Oh, three, okay. So with that, upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Personnel Committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. P1A through P14.
Is there,
Second. I just wanted to say, P11, 12 were approved at the 14th, May 14th meeting.
thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. So any discussion? This motion has been properly moved by Ms. Nancy Manisi and seconded by Ms. Dixie Carbonell. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Capiello?
Yes. Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes on all resolutions except P14, on which I abstain.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Next, we will have the Policy Committee Chair, Ms. Williams.
Upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the policy committee presents the following policies for the board's consideration. These are final reading adoption. POL1 is abolish policy 5755, equity in education programs and services, and policy 2, approve policy 0164, conduct of a board meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? These motions have been properly moved by Ms. Marilyn Williams and seconded by Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms.
Madam Chair.
Capiello?
A question
Oh, yes. Any-
through you to the chair of the committee. Ms. Williams, isn't it true that the policy, the abolishment of policy 5755 is because the language in that policy is being replaced by another policy?
Yeah.
And we are having a policy meeting one day. Wednesday. There are a lot of policies that we're going to be reviewing, and that one is going to be one of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, thank you. So this motion has been properly moved by Ms. Marilyn Williams and seconded by, was it Ms. Kimberly Scott Hayden? Yes, thank you. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Capiello?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden? Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes, thank you so much. Moving along, Ms. Manisi, we have the following residency resolutions.
Okay, so these are reports of students voluntarily transferred to out of district because of their residency. All of these are for informational purposes only.
Okay.
So I'd just like to reiterate that we had 12 students removed and 29 students, 29 students voluntarily transferred when we found that they were non-residents, and that's for the year.
Thank you so much, Ms. Manisi. So for the Technology Committee, this month, there are no technology resolutions to present. Commissioner, did you want to make a comment, or were we good with moving along?
We're good for moving along.
Good, thank you so much, I appreciate that. So now we'll have the approval of the bills. May I have a motion to approve the bills list?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Thank you so much. This motion has been probably moved by Mr. Michael Cohan and seconded by Ms. Marilyn Williams. Can I have a roll call, please? Mrs. Capiello?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. I will move along to any unfinished business. Yes, Ms. Marilyn Williams.
Last
meeting last week, I brought up that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We had buttons, we had bracelets, and in between that time, I actually read a article, actually a video opinion, and one of the woman's opinion was that high-functioning anxiety is not a medical diagnosis, it's a hashtag. And the point that she was making was not to discount anyone's concerns or anxieties or any of that, but with us talking about mental health awareness, we also have to be cognizant of putting that information out there and children self-diagnosing themselves that they don't have with illnesses that they don't have. So when we're having those difficult conversations, we need to also have those conversations so that the children that have been suffering pre-COVID understand that we're there, we're listening. One of the things that annoys me more than anything is the saying, it's okay to not be okay. It annoys me. It annoys me because if you're someone suffering from depression, it absolutely is not okay to not be okay. It's not. If you're suffering from schizophrenia, if you're suffering from bipolar disorder, it's not okay to not be okay. And we need to be very aware when we have that conversation because it's almost condescending to anyone that's dealing with something like that. So in closing, I guess, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I just hope that everyone does their research because my favorite saying is no science, no stigma. So I think that we need to keep that in mind rather than it's okay to not be okay because it's not okay to not be okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marilyn Williams. Any other unfinished business? Moving along to new business?
Madam President?
Yes.
Okay, I'd just like to talk about a couple things.
Please.
Events that I went to last week. I went to the CPAC meeting. You were there as well. That was
Yes.
held in the cafeteria, and it's also virtual. And it was a meeting held, it was on May 15th, and it gave information on transition planning for our students, for special needs students. We had 3 presenters. Sarah McCulloch, she's Union High School, or the Union School Social Worker Coordinator. Marie Durant Turner, she's a Transition to Adult Life and Employment Specialist from the Department of Human Services. And we had Giancarlo Vicari, who is our New Jersey Youth Ambassador for the Center of Youth Voice Choice, and he's a student at Union High School. It was very informative, so anyone that's listening that needs any information, I'm sure it's on the CPAG page on our website. It was very informative. We had quite a few parents there and students. They're doing a nice job with bringing information out to our families. And then on Friday, I went to the Play Unified, which was held at the high school football field. That was on Friday, May 17th. And it was so heartwarming to see our students in the Unified group working with our special needs. It was like an Olympics. They had lunch. They had awards. It was very, very nice. It was a beautiful day. Just to see the interaction was priceless. And then I just wanted to also mention the awards assembly last night that Dr. Benaquista talked about. It was an amazing turnout. Our students are amazing. The awards that were given, the scholarships. And there was one presenter, I don't remember his name, but he was amazed. I'm sure Dr. Benaquista, you remember, and everybody else that was there was quite a few of us there, at the amount of support from our community over all these years. He said it's amazing that people come back year after year to contribute and to honor our students. And it was nice to hear someone who's not from this community to recognize what we do. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other new business? Yes, Mr. Cohen.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to add my voice to talk about last night's awards assembly. I want to thank Dr. Benaquista for quantifying things for us, because as I sat there last night, I was trying to figure out exactly how many awards there were and how much money was actually distributed to all of our students. And
that helps me a lot with PR. Make sure I got that.
Thank you
Ms.
very
Nunes.
much. And I just want to say that I found myself smiling throughout the program, but I'm sure that my smile was exceeded by far by all the students and their parents. I have one suggestion for the future awards assemblies. There are, as you mentioned, there are several awards that are being given as a legacy to and in memoriam to those to people who are no longer part of our community. And some of them have made significant contributions to the district, some decades ago. And I think it would be helpful to both the students and the community to, in some way, be able to publish exactly what is behind those awards, who those people were to our community, so that there can be a greater appreciation for that generosity. And finally, I'd like to take a little point of personal privilege and make a comment about the public comments that we've heard over last week and this week. I believe, and I believe it was said by Dr. Benaquista, but I also believe that we are better as a community and as a school district when we have many voices involved. And I think that the constraints that we have to operate under law and regulation, sometimes are a hindrance to being able to gain those diverse voices. I heard you say, Madam President, after the young lady, the student from Battle Hill spoke, it makes me want to be better. And I think that despite the constraints of legality, we can do better. And we need to think creatively about how we can involve those voices. I ran for this board because of my lifelong commitment to education, and nothing that I've experienced in these first 5 months, and especially in the last 2 weeks, have dissuaded me from that commitment. But one of the things that I think is really important, and I know my colleagues have heard me speak about this, Dr. Benaquista has heard me speak about this, the thing that's going to help us most to transform the outcomes of and improve student learning is to make certain that we change the culture in the district and support our professionals in ways that make sure that they understand that their voices are heard, that their expertise is valued, and that we all do better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cohen.
Madam President?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Business?
Am I busy?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. A little. Got a meeting to run. No, I'm sorry.
One item I'd like to mention in new business is the formation of our district realignment committee. And this is a committee that's looking to simply assess how we are configured now, and also should there be any changes in our alignment. This committee was formed, I guess, probably about a month or so ago with the blessings of our superintendent. And I would just like to read the vision statement for the realignment committee. Our Township of Union Public Schools realignment vision is to create a dynamic and equitable educational landscape. This realignment would not only ensure that every student has access to high-quality learning opportunities, but also cultivate inclusive communities that empower students, foster innovation, and inspire lifelong learning. By optimizing resources and embracing diversity, we envision a future where each student, each school within our district thrives as a center of excellence, preparing students to succeed in a rapidly evolving world. This committee will actually have 7 subcommittees, and we want all stakeholders to take part. And that includes the board, administrators, teachers, parents, and we will probably have to get some students involved also. But some of the subcommittees are the Demographic Analysis Committee, the Boundary Drawing Committee, and that's boundary lines for all of our schools, a committee that's involved in community engagement, another committee that will look at the fiscal aspect of this, also the legal aspect, and we're looking at a committee for physical plant benefits and limitations, because some of our buildings may not be suitable for any kind of realignment, but we are looking into that. And also, there will be a committee that will be chaired with the responsibility of implementing any changes that we come across that we look to make. And again, this is simply a assessment. We're looking at our configuration. We're looking at our alignment. I am a co-chair of this committee along with Mrs. Conte Mackey. And I expect that tomorrow you'll be able to look on our webpage to find this committee, the subcommittees, and also sign up for some of these subcommittees, because we want as many stakeholders involved as possible. I see Mrs. Hall. I think Mrs. Watson is going to put that on the web page, on the township web page tomorrow. So you'll have an opportunity to sign up, and please spread the word, because we don't want to do this in a vacuum. We want as many people involved as possible, because we want to make sure we do this right, if we do it at all. But we do want to look at it to see if there are things and configurations that we can do better in our district, because now we have 6 elementary schools, 1 Central 5, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. And do we have those configured the best way? Maybe not.
Jefferson,
Jefferson, thank you.
not Central 5.
You said Central 5.
I know, it's going to
Thank
you so much.
For me, it was Jefferson School, grade kindergarten to 6th grade. That's when I went there. But yeah, and as I said, Mrs. Komaki, she is the chairperson of this committee, and we do want as many people involved as possible. So look to sign up, spread the word, and we want to keep this ball rolling. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Any other new business? Yes, yes, and it will be sent out to the entire community. This is something that we absolutely need everybody's collaboration on. If there's a specific committee that you're interested in, you have your heart set on it, please just reach out. The narrative that we are collaborative is not just a narrative, it is. We are collaborative. Is there any other?
I do.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Madam Vice President.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't thank everyone that has shown up here last week and this week so passionately to talk about their investment in the educational program of the district. I know that that can be somewhat uncomfortable for some people, but it got the message across. And I hope that moving forward, we proceed with an open mind and open hearts, and that we work together to find some resolution to this that everyone can live with. One of the things that really struck me, and I cannot say who said it, but it was children having fun while learning their craft. And one of the saddest things that I see as part of this discussion is that we have compartmentalized the specials from the core subjects. That is the biggest detriment to education. When we teach in isolation, students learn in isolation. So it is not about taking 10 minutes from 45 minutes of a special, because if we are really all educators, they will learn the arts in mathematics. They will learn media literacy in visual arts in ELA. You see, we are all educators, whether with a degree or certification or not. Our job is just to teach and help students connect the dots. And the biggest disservice we can do for our students is not teach them how to apply the mathematics and transfer it to a beautiful work of art. Not teach them how to use those ELA skills and have them determine what is fictional and what isn't. information. And not having them understand that physical science is just basic mathematics. We are charged here, all of us, with not empowering ourselves, but really improving the lives of every child here in Union. And we cannot do that if we do not listen to try to understand. So I hope that moving forward, these discussions continue so that we can bring the clarification and collaboration necessary so that every single one of our students benefit, not just some. Thank you.
Well said, Madam Vice President.
I don't even know how to come after that.
I know.
But Madam VP, just spot on. And to add to Madam VP and to Commissioner Cohen, one of the things, being now a board member versus being the parent on the other side, is communication and understanding of the process. And tonight and last week, so much, I literally have 50 pages of notes from all of the comments because I am vested in everything that was said. And we live and we learn. Are we always going to get it right? No. But so much came out of it and opened a discussion. In terms of going to board meetings for 10 plus years in this district, one of the things that I've always said that has always been a concern to me is the level of anxiety that we communicate into the public. There's not a clear understanding of the roles per se. And so we work up our community, which is not a bad thing because I was that parent, and to all those, you know, it is what it is. But I didn't know. So I would be stressed, I would be worked up, misinformation would be given to me as a parent, my emotions would be played on, especially for my case, in the roles of special education and et cetera. And it has been a rough week to actually hear people tell me that I don't care about the special ed community when I live it and when there's a testament and my track record in this district shows that I am all about special education. But it goes back to the point of educating our community, Madam President. And we need to do better in terms of really letting the community know where the board stands and what decisions can or can't be made, or what is our actual role. And a lot of parents, like myself, we're stressed out, we're coming into a community, and the hardest part of all of this was we're all supposed to be collaborative partners and stakeholders, and communication goes a long way. But if we're misgiving information and we as a community in general don't understand the role of the BOE, then what we encountered will continue to encounter. So, Madam President, and to Dr. Benaquister and to my fellow board members, we do, I agree, need to do better, and we need to learn from the past. But we really need to start to really educate the community. Because a long time ago, I put the question out there on my Facebook page, do you know what your Board of Ed is responsible for? And no one could answer. We need to really do better with that. And I think that we all here collectively will set the precedents to move forward. So that's all I really wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mackey. Any other new business on the table? That is wonderful. I do want to say, so as you guys know, get personal. So my baby's on the baseball team. He's on the varsity team. Union has been an underdog and fighting through and through. And we face Bridgewater, which is a beast, pretty soon. So if you can go out and support, please do. My baby usually sits, even though he's very talented. But please go out there, and our varsity boys would love your support. And if we have no other new business, I would like to move to adjournment.
Madam President,
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry.
We changed the policy. I thought we now allow.
It
Not
does,
yet?
it didn't pass.
It didn't
It did, it,
just passed.
the next one.
Got it.
The next,
Stand
thank
corrected.
you.
I just wanted to make sure.
Just a question.
Just pretend that I'm the president, yeah, huh? Yeah. Yes, Mr.
through you
Cohen.
To the superintendent, do we have any pending personnel matters that we didn't resolve in executive session? We're good.
Yes,
All right, thank
yes,
you.
yes, pretend I'm the president. Yeah,
Move to
yeah,
adjourn.
Yes, thank you so much, thank you. So moved. So, we have a motion properly moved by Mr. Michael Cohen and seconded by Miss Mary Lynn Williams. Mrs. Capiello, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden? Mrs. Williams?
Yes, yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes, thank you all.